Okay, so we're going to go over our um, SOPs, also known as standard operating procedures. So, our standard operating procedures are the documents that we use to use as instructions to run the business. And so, we have SOPs to run pretty much every aspect of our marketing agency running Facebook ads for our clients. So I'm going to give you an example of one. So in ClickUp is the software where we manage our tasks, due dates, communications, organization of tasks, subtasks, things like that, obviously, which you'll learn all about. But basically, here in this task, you'll see we have comment threads off to the right-hand side, lots of those. And then over here in the main task, we have some information. Then we have subtasks here with some important information. And let's pull up this subtask. So this is a very common task structure where inside of the task instructions, very simply, there's just a link to a Google Drive SOP or a Google Document SOP. Okay, the format for these is pretty much the same, if not, is pretty much all the same. Okay, and what we're going to see here in the SOP is we're going to see the layout here. So usually the SOP has a title to it. And when you encounter an SOP for the first time and you're looking over a standard operating procedure, you're going to want to read through it, take note of the execution time, and that's your goal. To accomplish this, either in the minimum time or less. Okay, your goal is to actually do this faster than the ideal outcome. And you'll see in the training video, usually the time frames are based on how fast I actually do these tasks, because I pretty much do all of these tasks at some point in time, and then create a standard operating procedure from them. Okay, so your goal is to execute them in this time. The ultimate goal is, stated here. It's to provide this particular task is to provide comprehensive analytics for the client. We use ChatGPT for it. The ideal outcome is enhanced performance, and then creating a plan for the team, basically, and creating really good communication for the team across the board, right? By helping use actually ChatGPT using AI to help build out further strategies and analytics for the client. So this is done using the client's ad account, obviously, in the Google Drive. So that's where the task is done. Usually it's going to tell you where it's done, why it's important. Who does this? This says media buyer, but sometimes it'll say somebody does this task, but it's actually somebody different, or you might be doing it for someone else. So it may be for you, but there might be some other name here. But if the task is assigned to you, it really doesn't matter. You're the one that's handling the standard operating procedure. Okay, there's going to be a process, and usually this is going to be a step-by-step process that you're going to want to read through. So read through the process. Okay, take time to read through these step by step to understand it and understand what it's saying. Then you're going to see there's usually a training video or several training videos. Okay, and these are loom.com videos. So you're going to click on the link to open it. And then you're going to see some training videos. So this particular video is 41 minutes long. The next video is like an addendum, like some extra training. That's 7 minutes long. That's usually how it goes. There's usually like a main training. And what's best to do is like watch the training all the way through. Sometimes I'll change the speed at which I watch it. In Loom, you can go to like a 2 times speed. Sometimes I'll turn on closed captions as well, because it helps to have these up while you're watching. And so once you scan these, so watch the training videos. If there are, prompts, then feel free to analyze these prompts. These are the prompts you're going to be using. Usually the chat GPT prompts in our SOPs, if there is one, you'll see where the prompt is laid out, but then in bolding, these are instructions. That's actually not part of the prompt. You do have to read through these, and you'll see where it tells you to paste something. in addition to the information. Okay. And then you'll also, because we use Google Docs to manage our SOPs, you'll see things here. And you'll see there's comments here. And it's good to review comments in an SOP so you can see like previous work done by other team members and you can get a feel for like maybe a history or work log. Now, if you feel like something needs to be updated or changed, like let's say I know that this is done not by the media buyer, but the CSR, you actually click in here and you're not set to just edit SOPs. No one's allowed to do that but me right now, or management. So you have to click in and it'll be a suggestion. So I'm going to type in or CSR. I'm using a different profile for this training example. Okay, and you add that in and then you'd hit boom, reply or CSR. Okay. Or CSR. So now when you make suggestions like this, be very intentional. Okay, don't like while you're reading something like click into it and then just like hit a bunch of keys, because every time you do that, it sends an email to me and the other team members that are also shared on this document, and that creates a big problem. Okay, if you're putting typos into your standard operating procedures regularly, it's going to send out a lot of spam messages and messages that are useless, basically. Make sure you're intentional and you're putting recommendations in here that make sense, okay? So once you've reviewed the SOP, and if you think there's any sort of like updates or anything, you might make recommendations to it and being very intentional about that. Watch the training videos. You can watch them at 2 times speed. I recommend turning on closed captions when you watch them. Just click this little CC button right here, and that'll turn on the closed captions for you so you can also read while you watch the training video. Once you're familiar with the SOP and the training video, you need to go ahead and do the task. And what I recommend is if you have 2 screens at your workstation, actually put the Loom video over on one screen and then have the task up on another screen where you're working, and you can actually watch the video, see what I do, and then repeat what I do on the screen in front of you, right? Or if you only have one screen, just have 2 tabs. So you can go ahead and you can watch part of the video where you need to do something, go back to the task and do what you saw in the video. Okay, and then as you get up to speed on the task, you'll be able to kind of roll through it, and you might have to reference the video or the SOP, but you'll probably get proficient at doing it. And then you'll also see in the task in ClickUp, a lot of times there's action items or there's like a checklist. This particular task doesn't have one, but it's not uncommon for there to be a checklist of things to do that you can reference, and you can kind of go through that checklist. I actually recommend you don't cross items off the checklist. You just go through it here. Or if you cross them off, uncross them so they're available for you again when you go to do the task again. Okay, so you can kind of just walk through that checklist each time you go to do the task. And always make sure, like when you go to do a task, just double check the update. Like just open it and double check the last reviewed or updated, because it's not very uncommon that we make updates to our SOPs regularly, and you'll see that date will change. Sometimes it's a newer date, and that means there's been a change to it. Okay, and you can actually click the little history button here and see changes here. And you can actually see a version history. Then what I did is I clicked this little clock up here, and then you can actually see if there's been significant updates to this SOP at a certain time. Okay. So that's how you can tell, what changes maybe have been made. And that's important because a lot of times updates happen because we make the task better through doing the task. That's why it's important you leave comments on an SOP with questions. Like sometimes you'll see here, this person had a question, I responded to it, because I'll actually get a notification so I can respond directly to the SOP. Maybe make a little bit of a change. if needed in there, or you can make a recommendation like I did here where it says or CSR. I'll see that and I'll come in and I'll approve it. Okay, so changes to SOPs do need to be approved, but your feedback is very valuable. So please take time to leave feedback as you do a task, and maybe you see something here in the process as you're moving through it that's not quite right. So I can update it and we can make the process even better. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. You'll see this is pretty much how all tasks are operated, are through a task in ClickUp, following an SOP with training videos and directions on a Google document that we also use as a feedback mechanism. And don't put typos in there. Be very aware when you click in and you type something in, be very intentional about that, because everyone will get updates. And always look for version updates to your SOP. Just double check it for any updates, just in case there are updates to the task. Okay, thanks.